and welcome to Movie Theater Time Machine, the podcast where we keep it real to real. We're going to round out our stoner month with Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. You will unfortunately not hear a couple of people with us tonight.
Yep.
Simply because people are busy.
Yep. Nick's doing a thing. He'll be back next week. Don't worry too much. I will try
Along
not.
With Kaz.
The same. Yep. I will try not to mess up the outro today. I will probably trip over my own voice. Yeah, so we got half of the cast today. I'm Dan.
I'm Joss. And we apologize ahead of time for being stupid.
And I really want like 19 tiny burgers right now. Like that were cooked on a bed of onions that never once touched the grill.
Yeah, also the burgers are steamed and it's White Castle, man.
The problem is we'd have to travel even farther than they did.
Yeah, White Castle doesn't exist around here.
Yeah.
We only can get them
I think the closest one is actually in New Jersey.
In New Jersey or New York, yeah. So this movie is starring John Cho, Cal Penn, Ethan Embry, Fred Willard.
Ethan, was he one of the dickheads in the orange truck?
He was the... Okay. No. He was one of the like yuppie bros. He was the one who was like still looking at the picture of his girlfriend.
No, all right. I'm thinking of the wrong. You're thinking of the wrong.
Ethan
I'm thinking of the wrong Ethan specifically. Yes. That was my like. Wait, Willard's in this?
No.
Ethan Embry. He was. If you remember our review of Empire Records, he was Randy.
Yes, he is. Also, Ryan Reynolds is in this. Neil Patrick Harris.
But why?
Malin Ackerman, Christopher Maloney.
Where was Silk Spectre?
Dude, she's the one who's topless with the blonde hair, the freak show's wife. Yes, bro. See, okay. So here's
that didn't click. I'm used to her with dark hair as Silk Spectre.
Here's the deal. Dan had never seen this movie.
Nope.
And I had. I watched it when it first came out in 2004.
It really shouldn't be surprising that I haven't seen a movie. Considering I do a movie review podcast, I should have seen a lot more.
Now here's the deal. I had assumed that he had seen it.
Nope.
So I'm sitting there going, he's like waiting for jokes to happen, and he's like, well, what about this? And I'm like, oh, come on, and I'm like, you know this, and he's like,
no, I don't.
No, I don't. And I'm like, wait, you've never seen this? And he's like, First time. And I'm like, oh, okay. So he didn't know that Ryan Reynolds just showed up.
Yeah, I didn't know
but why.
I didn't know where that had come from. I knew Neil Patrick Harris was in it, and I knew he was an asshole in this, but I'd never seen the scenes.
He's proto Barney Stinson in this. I think this came out before he was out, or right around the time he came out, which is why
I remember it being like
this
really?
Is so funny.
Doogie Howser stole my car.
Yeah, Doogie Howser just steal my fucking car. But anyway, the movie starts with John Cho, who's playing Harold. He's an investment banker at some like big wig company, and he
seems kind of miserable.
He seems very miserable, and these two like yuppie bros kind of like toss all of their work at him because they're like, he's Asian, therefore, he loves these Asian guys love to crunch numbers. He probably just made his weekend. Math. And so, they kind of call out some of the stereotypes, which I think is really funny. But he goes, and he seems like the timid type. He doesn't really talk back. He just kind of takes it. He drives home, and the guard like stops him and has to show his ID for him to leave. Like he doesn't work there every day. He drives home, and there's a spot in front of the house, and he goes to like take it, but these extreme
douche bros just slam into it with their bright orange Bronco.
Yeah.
With all sorts of adventuring gear on top because they're these kind of extreme assholes. Like, let's go get some Mountain Dew.
Yeah, they're dickheads.
I have Mountain Dew. It is not extreme. It is, in fact, diet. It is less extreme.
It's just, I told you, it's like, to me, diet soda is soda that exists. And it's okay, but it's just, it's lacking a key ingredient. Joy.
Yeah.
But... So he goes to his apartment.
So joy is found in calories. That's the
joy is found in sugar.
So he goes back to his apartment, and it is a massive apartment. And I'm starting to think, like...
Well, they're in Jersey. They're in Jersey.
Still, even in Jersey, that's a giant apartment. And I'm thinking, how can he afford this? And then I remember that when we're introduced to Kumar, he is in a
like a dean's office.
He's having like an interview with the dean of admissions or whatever.
He's like a dean of admissions, or he's I don't know. He's just there to try to get into this med school because he's already graduated from college. He's trying to go to med school, and he's sort of taking it seriously. He's kind of sloppy looking, and
then he like takes a call during it, and he's like purposely being the most like uncouth, like unprofessional, like, oh no, I'm not doing anything important. And he tells the dean to hold on 1 second, that whole thing, because he doesn't want it.
No, and the dean is played by Fred Willard, which is funny in its own right.
And he's doing all this just to keep his dad, so his dad continues to pay his rent for him. I'm like, oh, that's why they have a giant apartment.
Mm-hmm. But so he kind of flubs the interview, goes home, and basically he's like, all right, let's smoke. Let's get high. Let's chill.
And they do. They are so high.
They're very, very, and
they're not low.
Okay, so I was a little confused as to why they were smoking in every single different way possible when they had both a pipe and a bong. Like, why are you rolling?
Giggles.
I guess. It's like,
giggles,
whatever.
I suppose.
I mean, I take it as it comes, but...
Yeah. Personally, I eat my drugs.
I do too.
The smoke I can't do.
I do now. I used to partake in other ways, but now I just eat my completely legal, where I live, weed.
Mm-hmm. You were present for the last time I really smoked anything, and it was let's not do that again. I am not in fact
wise
Tarzan.
For you to smoke weed at all. Ever.
I am not in fact Tarzan.
But anyway, there's also this girl that lives in their apartment named Maria, and she...
How do you solve a problem like Maria? No.
Well, you talk to her. I mean, that's how you solve that problem, because Harold has this huge crush on her, and he can't speak to her.
He just goes straight up nonverbal when she's around, because he can't find the proper words, or if he does manage to choke out saying something to her, it's just like, you have a lot of baggage.
Yeah.
Because he's just I know that feeling. I've been there.
No, I get it. I totally get it. It's funny. So after a while, they decide that they're really hungry, and Kumar doesn't want to order out.
Let's get some takeout. Let's go to this place. Let's go to that place.
He's like, let's go to KFC. He's like,
no,
we've
been doing that
time. Like, let's get something we haven't had in a while. And then the White Castle commercial comes on.
And the White Castle commercial, I don't know if it's a real White Castle commercial, but
I believe it was.
This commercial is trying to seduce me.
I'm almost positive it was a real commercial, or if it is, it's like really overly stylized to the White Castle commercial I've seen.
Well, you know what? It worked, because now I want tiny burgers.
But they were like, but here's the deal: you could get 5 sliders, a fry, and a large Coke for $2.99.
Did we mention this movie came out in the early aughts?
$2.99. I was like,
this is when we still had
an economy. Now for how much?
Yeah, dear, we used to have an economy.
I gotta say, this movie's 21 years old, but at the same time, think about that. Only 21 years ago, you could get 5 burgers, a fry, and a large drink for $3. I just want to point that out. Anyway,
we had everything, and we threw it all away,
and now it's gone. But
we had 24-hour Walmarts.
Yeah, we did.
That if you were feeling like shit at 4 a.m, you just go to the 24-hour Walmart, and I promise you're not the worst person there.
No, you really aren't. Not that I've ever done this before, ever.
No, never once.
But so they decide they're going to go to White Castle. They stop at their neighbor's house first, or a couple of guys,
Goldstein and something Stein,
who I'm pretty sure are Jewish.
I mean, that was like the big joke with them. I think.
And they're watching the movie The Giver because Katie Holmes is in it, and she apparently shows her tits.
And, yeah, she's topless at one point, and they're like, "No, we have to see this. It's going to be the greatest thing of all time."
And it's played by the guy who fucked Stifler's mom.
Wasn't he also in? He was in Addams Family Values, right?
Was he?
He was the kid with a crush on Wednesday at the camp.
Is he?
I think so.
It's been a very long time since I've seen Addams Family Values.
I am pretty sure. Hold on. I'm gonna. Dan reads IMDb.
And
I did IMDb.
And funnily enough, the other one he was in another movie that we watched recently, 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yep.
So, but they're like, oh, do you want White Castle? And they're like, no, we don't want White Castle. And so they leave him behind, and they leave a cell phone behind as well, because they've walked down the hallway, realize they forgot it, look at the door, and go, no, we've come too far. And I think every stoner has felt this way.
I'm not even generally that much of a stoner, and I'm like that. I'm like, yeah.
Okay, but in 2004, I can totally understand you leaving your phone behind, because there was nothing you could do on your phone.
What are you going to do? Answer a phone call?
Right. Texting cost 10 cents each text. Like, you did not text because it cost you too much money on your pay-by-minute phone.
And you had to do it in T9.
Yes. So leaving your phone behind back then
wasn't that big
of a deal. Now, if I leave my phone for longer than 5 seconds and I realize that I've walked out the door without it, I am so turning around and going back and getting it.
So if I realize I left mine in the other room, I have a minor panic attack.
Yeah, it's bad. It is bad. But regardless, they go and they decide they're going to go get some White Castle.
He was Joel Glicker in Addams Family Values.
I didn't say I didn't believe you. I just didn't
remember. He was also, I forgot, he was also Mr. Universe in Serenity.
He is Mr. Universe in Serenity.
He killed me with a sword, now.
Well, that's not the guy who fucked Stifler's mom. That's the guy. That's the guy who's in the other one. Okay. About you.
All right.
The guy who fucked Stifler's mom was also in that TV show Scorpion.
Right.
That we watched the other day.
Oh God, he's the asshole with the trilby.
With the fedora. Yes. Yes.
You gotta love the Ion detective shows that come on. It
wasn't Ion. That actually came out on like NBC or some shit first.
Yeah, but we saw it on Ion.
Yeah.
It was like, Ion Mystery, the only thing that's ever really on in our house. It was like, go watch your police procedurals.
Yes, I like Bones. Leave me alone.
Chino watches NCIS all day.
He does. But they go and they're going to go to this White Castle in New Jersey. And
it's like a couple of exits down from where they live. So they hop in their car.
And they're going to go, the first thing that happens is they're going to go through a toll. And this toll, by the way, is 35 cents. And
it's like $1.50 now.
He's like,
easy.
Yeah. He's like, give me 35 cents for the toll. And
he throws it in. It doesn't register.
And so there's a line forming behind him.
Or it might just be that one guy and he's an absolute dickbag.
Well, no, there was a line. There was, because the other lanes were, that's why there was so many honks.
Honks?
So many honks.
What, are you from New York?
Yeah.
You're not, though.
No, not even a little bit.
You're from Boston.
Not even from Boston. I'm from south of Boston.
We live in Massachusetts. All is Boston.
Yeah, it's true.
If you tell someone I'm from Massachusetts, Boston. Sure. Fine.
Yep, pretty much.
I'm in the burbs.
We're not in the burbs either. Like
the burbs of Boston.
We are urban, bitch. Like, I don't know where the fuck you're coming from, but
I don't see a skyscraper around me.
But we're still. The streets are dirty. There's like 100,000 people in this city. Urban. You grew up in the burbs. I grew up in the ghetto.
I grew up in the Shanty Highlands, my dear.
You grew up in the burbs.
Shanty Highlands.
It's the fucking burbs. Anyway, so they blow through this toll, and Harold, because he's Harold, gets paranoid and throws all the weed out the window.
Yep.
And so they're really upset about that, or Kumar's really upset about that. And so they go to the New Brunswick. Which is supposed to be where the White Castle is.
And turns out it's like a burger shack.
It's a burger shack now. And I think there's a cameo here from, I can't remember his name.
With the guy at the window, right?
Yeah.
Oh God, I don't know. I don't know his name offhand either. I will find it.
But anyway, he
Anthony Anderson.
And he basically tells him there's a 24-hour White Castle at Cherry Hill,
which is about a 45-minute drive. So figure that's about so it's 40 miles, give or take. And the shit that happens in these 40 miles.
So the first thing they do is, because they have no more weed, they make this decision to stop by Princeton. Because there's a girl at Princeton who's been kind of hounding Harold.
Because I think Harold went to Princeton.
Well, maybe, but he did go to Princeton, but I think this girl is like someone that his family might have hooked him up with.
Yeah.
And she's been like trying to get him to come to one of their parties.
Which is like their East Asian like heritage club.
Yeah, something like that. And like he really doesn't want to go, but Kumar's like, no, we're going because we need to score some weed. And so they go to this party, and Harold kind of gets stuck with a bunch of Asian kids asking him all sorts of questions.
What's it like to be an investment banker? Ooh.
Yeah, like, and then they're like, okay, let's just go to the party after he's like, I'll see what I can do for you, guy, like, whatever. Meanwhile, Kumar's out trying to score some weed, and he runs into this other kid who has this huge fucking bag of weed and charges him way more than he should.
He's a business stoner.
He's a business stoner, but he's a dumbass too. Like, and he's also, I forget who he's played by. Jordan Prentice, apparently.
Why do I know that name? Back to IMDb.
So he scores a dime bag, and as he's scoring it, these two British girls walk up and like, oh, you're gonna smoke some weed? Like, why don't you come to our room? It's like room 109. We're about to eat like our dinner, but then just you and your friend come join us. And so Kumar's like, yeah, and the stoner kid's like, yeah, let's do this. And he's like, okay, bro, whatever, and goes to find Harold. Meanwhile, he runs into to Harold in a walk in like the stairway between dorms, and rolls a joint. They start smoking it, and they get busted by a security guard. And so they start running through the college, and as they're running through the college, they pass by the Asian party, and like everybody's smoking weed, drinking, people are taking their shirts off and dancing, and Kumar's like, dude, we should have gone to this party, which the entire time he's been saying, oh, this party sucks.
I don't want to go to the Asian civil studies party. It's gonna be stupid. And they pass by it, and yeah, it's a absolute.
It's
banger.
A rager. Like, it's a rager. Like, we should have gone to this party. And so they run into the girls' bathroom to get away from the security guard. And in the girls' bathroom walk in the two girls who basically just told Kumar to come to their room. And they're talking about how they can't wait for the dishy Indian guy to come to the room. And then one of them's like, oh, I think I need to shit.
Now, is this a common thing in ladies' bathrooms?
Not that I'm aware of.
Having a turd off?
I've never had a battle shit like game going before, but these two do. These two get into like opposite stalls and start like singing each other's battle shits.
Have dueling
shit.
Dueling BMs.
Yeah, pretty much. And
that is probably, I should get an award for the lowest of low bar jokes that I've ever made on this podcast. Was that right there? I don't think I can go lower.
But yeah, so they end up running out of the bathroom screaming.
Which, I get it. But they also in this moment of horror drop their dime bag down the toilet.
Yes.
So again, they are once more without weed, and I think it's at this point they
jump back in the car, and Kumar pulls over to pee, and Jamie Kennedy shows up and is very, very awkward for about 2 minutes.
Starts screaming about, "Do you own this bush? There's a fine bush. This is where I wanted to go and pee."
And while this happens, he leaves the driver's side door open, and a raccoon crawls in.
Jumps into the car with Harold. But
Harold is doing the work that the dude bros from his job gave him.
So he's distracted. He doesn't see the proto rocket raccoon jump into the car.
And then Kumar comes back. They start driving. Raccoon basically makes itself known, jumps into Harold's lap, and bites him, and then vomits blood all over him.
Yep. They're like, oh God, I've got rabies! I've got rabies! Oh my God!
So they end up at the hospital because, he's freaking out because he got bit by a raccoon.
Which I would too.
And
it's in my raccoon wound.
He doesn't have rabies. He's fine. But they go to this hospital. I think they said it's Beth Israel. And Kumar's dad and older brother are there doing rounds.
He's like, oh, this is why you didn't want to go to the hospital, huh?
Yeah. So then his father's like, how could you like flunk that that interview? You know, I set up another one for you for tomorrow, and you better be there, and you better do a good job, or I'm cutting you off.
Yeah, it's the successful Indian dad is expecting the most from his kids kind of thing.
But apparently Kumar like actually has the skills.
Yeah,
the skill set. He just
he got a perfect score on the thing, and he can do it. But it's like
he's got no motivation.
Like you said, if you got a huge dick, you don't have to go into porn.
That's true.
It's like why?
You got a point. But like he kind of apologizes to his dad, hugs him and his brother, steals their access cards, and is like, let's go get some medical grade marijuana. And I'm sitting there going, they don't keep that shit in the hospital, bro. Like, what are you doing? But
no, it's at a lab where there's a particular janitor who's stealing a ton of it.
Yes. But then they run into Ryan Reynolds. Like, oh, Dr. Patel, because, you put an Indian guy in scrubs, and of course he's a doctor.
And of course his last name's Patel, because it's the only Indian last name anyone knows.
So they're like, Dr. Patel, thank God we found you. We have an emergency here. This guy's been shot, and so
we have 3 horrific gunshot wounds, and he's abraded in all sorts of medical terms that if you gave me 10 minutes, I could probably figure out what it means.
He's like, we need you to perform surgery on him, and he's like, well,
But wait, I don't, and then they just shove him in the room, and they all get like.
They get scrubbed up, and
it's like, don't touch me, I'm sterile.
And he was like, oh yeah, we need to sedate the patient, so maybe we should get some medical marijuana, because that'll sufficiently sedate the patient for surgery. And I was like, fuck you, it will.
And this is the point where Ryan Reynolds says
but why?
But why?
That "but why" meme comes from this part.
And I have discovered the source of yet another meme.
Yeah, so I was like, you did, and me, of course, I was like, you didn't know that, because
I just know
I was surprised that he hadn't seen this movie. So he Kumar successfully removes all the bullets from
and
this
gives
guy.
the guy like it's not a trach, but it's like he relieves some pressure with something.
He's got a collapsed lung, so he stabs him in the lung to release to add air to it.
Something like, essentially it helps him uncollapse the lung, and the guy can
breathe and talk again. He's like, do you know where the White Castle is?
And they ask him for directions to White Castle. It's like, oh, you're like 3 exits away. You're almost there.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you'll be 10 minutes, man. Like, you're good. And so they, scrub out, and they go to leave, and Kumar has, like, this epiphany that maybe he should be a doctor after all, because that shit was awesome.
It's like, I can do it. I mean...
So, as they're driving, they see Maria go to a movie theater, and she's going to go see 16 Candles, which earlier... Harold made a reference to it.
16 Candles.
One of his favorite movies.
Yeah, and it's apparently the least heterosexual thing ever uttered in the apartment,
according to Kumar. Anyway, but anyway, Harold starts to panic because Kumar's like, "Let's go talk to her," and he's like, "No!" and he grabs the wheel. To which
and drives them basically down a hill off the road, and
they go off-roading.
Like, the car is miraculously fine except for a tire that popped.
Yep, because this is Adventures in Babysitting.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy shows up with his tow truck, and his name is Freak Show. And now
his real name's Randy, but everyone just calls him a Freak Show.
But he's played by
Chris Maloney,
who if you know him from TV, you would know him from Law and Order Special Victims Unit.
He's the especially heinous
as Elliot.
Yep.
And
this threw me right off,
because I was like, you know who that is, right? And he's like, no. And I'm like, that's that guy from SVU.
That's Elliot from SVU. I'm like, bullshit, and it is. But I'm like, nope, no, I'm here. I hear it.
Yep.
I hear it. There he is. Oh God.
He's got a wackadoodle sense of humor, in real life.
Yeah.
So he basically is like, oh yeah, I got a tire for you. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. Do you guys love Jesus? And he starts singing for the Lord.
He's doing revival music, and then He's like just clapping his hands, and Harold's just like, "Oh God!" Just grabs the wheel. Then he puts his hand over his and just holds it there and holds the note. They're both screaming, and Freak Show is just absolutely covered.
Singing about Jesus.
Yeah, and he's absolutely covered in like pulsating, horrible boils.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing I wasn't eating my lunch while we were watching this, and we were watching one of the boils on his neck just start oozing. I'm like, I'm gonna put the spaghetti down. I'm not hungry anymore.
And I'm sitting giggling because I'm like, I already knew what was coming, so it was fine. For me, anyway. But yeah, so he brings him to his house, and he's like, all right, I'll get that tire set up for you. You can go inside. My wife's inside. You
get some drinks. You're gonna have something to eat. Fuck my wife. And they're like, wait, hold on. Did he just say? Wait, hold on.
Fuck his wife? Like what?
And they're like, oh, come on, you know what Freak Show looks like. Can you imagine what his wife Leanne looks like? And they go inside, and it's Malin Ackerman, who is an absolutely gorgeous human being.
She is.
I'm used to seeing her with dark hair or really, really curly hair and having Tom Cruise sing at her ass. But it's just like, okay, yes, okay. And like she fell in love with his like singing voice. Yeah. And like, it's like, and they're like into whatever, and she's like, "You guys gonna fuck me or what?"
Yeah, she gives him like lemonade. She starts talking about how much she loves Freak Show, and then she's like, "So you guys gonna like fuck me or what?" And they're like, "Huh? Like, is that for real?" And she's like, "What? You think we can't have a good time?" And so she's like, "I want the double stuff. I want you both at once." And they're like, "No, my balls are not gonna be rubbing up against yours because they're like, no homo." Because this was the early 2000s, and
you could still spit roast. Eiffel Tower. Come on.
I got nothing against nothing, but they apparently don't want to rub dicks. So they ask, "Hey, can you give us a blowjob?" And she's like, oh, "Well, okay."
I mean, I guess so. And then Freak Show comes storming in, and everyone's freaked out.
Well, what's really funny is like she takes her top off, so you get to see her boobs, and then Freak Show comes in, and he's like, "What's going on here?" And they're like, "No, you told us we could fuck her. You told us."
No, I didn't. Yes, you did. No, I did. Yes, you did. And they basically Bugs Bunny him. Yes. He's like, "Oh wait, did I? I might have. I guess I did."
He's like, "Well," and then he takes off his.
They rabbit seasoned, duck seasoned him.
Yes, they did, and he's like, "Well, if that's the case, how about a foursome?" And then he takes off his
jumpsuit. It's like one move, and he's just in Speedo.
In a Speedo, and they just start screaming, and they run out of the house. They get in the car, and they take off. As they're driving, they have no idea where they are. They're in like the deep woods.
Yep.
They see a figure on the side of the road, and Kumar's like, maybe he knows how to get back on the highway, and he pulls over, and it's Neil Patrick Harris.
And it's not Neil Patrick Harris playing a character. It's Neil Patrick Harris playing Neil Patrick Harris. But as we said before, we think this was before he came out.
I think it's
so he still had the whole kind of like ladies love cool Neil sort of thing going on. He's just like, yeah, I know all the parties, I know all this shit. And it's like, man, I'm fucking bored. Come on, let's go somewhere, let's get laid. And
he officially came out in 2006.
Okay,
so this was
2 years
before he came out.
This was right before. So yeah, he took a heroic dose of ecstasy at some point and ended up getting thrown out of a car, and they found himself in a fucking cornfield where he ran into Harold and Kumar. So they stop at a gas station to try to get directions, and the extreme dickwad douche bros are there
in the orange truck
are there harassing this poor man who speaks very, very little English, but like becomes kind of fast friends sort of with Kumar because Kumar speaks Hindi.
Yes.
And they're trying to sort the situation out because the guys are harassing this poor guy. And while they're in the store dealing with this, and Kumar ends up kind of standing up to these guys, and it really throws the lead one off when he doesn't flinch
the first time,
and he's just, and this whole time Neil Patrick Harris is losing his goddamn marbles,
and he's humping the seat in the truck,
heroic dose of MDMA. And he ends up stealing the car and just taking off.
Away.
And just leaves them at this gas station in the middle of fucking nowhere, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm. So after they deal with the dude bros, they walk out and they're like, "Did Neil Patrick Harris just fucking steal my car?" And it's like, "Yeah, he did." And so he's like, "Well, I'm gonna go call the cops." So he decides that he's gonna go across the street to call the cops from the payphone and not go back into the convenience store with the dude bros.
Because back in 2004, there were still payphones. Kids, back in the day, there used to be phones you put money in.
It used to be about 25 cents.
They were not cell phones, and they were physically connected to the wall that they were hung on. Anyway, it's across this crosswalk, and Harold comes up and he like urgently presses the button, and he's angry at Kumar about this whole thing. He's angry
at everything. He's had a shit night. Like his car has been stolen. He's basically been beat up, run over. Like he's just dirty and tired and just wants to fucking go home. And Kumar's like, "No, we're going to White Castle. Like after this, we're going to White Castle." He's like, "No, I'm done." And he's like, "Dude, just cross the street," because he keeps hitting the button. Like,
yeah, there's no cars.
There's no cars.
There's no cars
2:30
in sight. It's the middle of the goddamn night. There is nothing around, and the signal just doesn't turn. And Kumar's just, "Go, man, just fucking go." And literally, Harold takes 2 steps off the curb. Whoop 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 whoop, and he gets
a ticket for jaywalking
for $204.
Yeah, which is a lot.
That's pre-housing crisis dollars.
Yeah,
because the housing market crashed. What, 2008?
Yeah. So
this is when dollars still meant something.
This is when I was getting paid probably like $6.25 an hour,
and you could still sort of survive on it because it was still spillover 90s.
It was 2004. I was working 2 full-time jobs.
Yep.
At the time. So yeah. It was a bad time. Oh, but that was the year the Red Sox won the World Series for the first time in 100 years. But neither here nor there. Anyway. Hey, good times. Yeah. Anyway.
Never felt so good.
That was words. Those were words that I couldn't remember. There we go.
I didn't either until right that second.
But anyway, so Kumar basically just starts egging on the cop by calling him out on his racism.
And the cop is an open and proud racist, being an absolute shitbag.
Open, proud racist who basically is told and kind of thrown in his face that he peaked in high school. Mm-hmm. And now he became a cop. And so this cop's getting more and more annoyed. And Harold's getting more and more annoyed at Kumar for not just keeping his fucking mouth shut.
Just shut up and let's get out of this situation. But Kumar keeps poking.
And keeps poking and throws a punch. And misses the cop. And Mrs. Kumar and punches the cop. I'm sorry.
Slugs the cop right in the face.
Yes.
Sorry, we had a little off-mic confusion here. Yes. We're good. We're good now. Needless to say, Harold gets arrested.
Harold gets arrested for punching a cop.
And the next thing we see is him just standing in a cell, and he's got a cellmate. I can't remember the guy's name. They're just like, "What'd you get arrested for?" He's just being black. And he's just reading a book about civil disobedience, and he's just explaining the whole thing about how these people are shit. They're gonna harass you no matter what, and it doesn't do to get all worked up over some assholes giving you a hard time, because things tend to work out on their own.
He also talks about the fact that this man has 2. He's like, "I have 2 gay dads. I'm fat.
I'm fat. I can't dance. I got 2 gay dads.
I got everything going against me as a black man. So I got used to people picking on me. And trust me when I say that it's not worth it to be overworked, to get yourself worked up, because things have a tendency to work themselves out."
Yeah.
And as he's saying this, a phone call happens in the precinct.
About there's a shooting in a downtown, shots fired in some downtown,
park or something,
I don't know.
And all of the cops that are in this podunk little office all trip over themselves running out after some real
finally some real action.
Some real action.
It's don't shoot them all without me. Wait up. and they take off, and we find out that Kumar has crawled into the ventilation system, and he's the one who called in the gunfire.
And he's doing it to get Harold out of prison. They have a bit of a tiff, and then Kumar falls out of the
ceiling, because of course we have human-sized ventilation.
Because you know that exists, right?
Yeah.
And he finds the keys, gets Harold out.
Well, starts to get Harold out, and then his weed senses go off.
He starts doing the dog nose sniff, finds the full bag of weed, because just
the kid from Princeton was being booked there.
The kid from Princeton got nabbed by the security guards at Princeton when they were going after Harold and Kumar. And so he had been strip searched because he was in his underwear. And his mother was bailing him out of jail. But the weed stayed behind.
We find out the character's name is Bradley.
So he finds this bag of weed and has like a bit of a dissociation.
Yeah, he kind of goes to Cool World. He has a Toontown episode.
No. The Toontown episode was Harold. Kumar is the one where he like marries it and fucks it, and then like slaps it. The bag of weed.
Where's Toontown?
That's later when Harold gets knocked out.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that's right when he falls off.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Never mind. I got ahead of myself, but we still have a dissociative episode.
He's dissociating where he's like marrying this huge bag of weed and fucking this huge bag of weed and then abusing this huge bag of weed.
I only hit you because you make me kind of shit. He's in a wife beater. He can't figure out the bills.
He's doing the bills and it's like it's not.
He's got the big like hand crank calculator.
And then he wakes up out of his dream and he gets Harold screaming at him like, still in prison, because he hasn't been open. The door hasn't been opened yet.
Yeah.
And he gets him out, and
with the keys in there, they automatically assume that the black guy's trying to escape. So
because the cops come back. The cops actually come back. They see that the door is open and that someone's trying to escape. They immediately go after the black man.
Yeah.
And they had dragged in this other poor black man in his pajamas.
Because, I was in bed. I didn't shoot anything. And they just pulled him in. And was that it
wasn't who you... No, it was not.
He looks a lot like...
It did look a lot like him, but no, it was not him.
But they're getting ready. Harold and Kumar are getting ready to escape while all the cops are beating up this other guy.
But they're still
but we can't just let this happen. And they just see they're just getting beat on and the dude in his pajamas just like, you should just go.
If I were you, I'd just leave.
Just leave.
Just leave. So they run out. And as they run out, they have this huge bag of weed.
It's like they flee into the woods.
And that's when they run into a cheetah.
Which the cheetah escaped from a local zoo, and we've had a couple of news things in the background.
But this is where we get the dissociation from Harold, because Harold.
Well, that's when he falls off the cheetah, because they encounter a cheetah.
They get high with the cheetah.
They see the cheetah's already eaten somebody, and it turns out that the cheetah actually kind of likes Harold, and
because Harold gives him some jerky.
Just wanted the Slim Jim in his pocket, and they end up being friends, and they get the cheetah high, and then they ride the cheetah on some kind of magic carpet ride. The green screen is lovely tonight.
Oh yeah,
effect.
It's terrible.
We got it's like straight up the land speeders on Endor, like zipping through the trees and just barely missing everything. And at one point, Harold gets clotheslined by a tree branch.
And there's a Wilhelm scream.
Yep, he is Harold Wilhelm Lee. Gets knocked off the back of the cheetah, and he gets knocked into Cool World.
Yes, he has
the burger zone, where there's little burger people going, let's go eat burgers, come with me. It's this full dissociative episode. At this point, Maria. I look at Joss, I'm like, fucking what?
It's like, just let it go. It makes sense. He sees Maria, he starts making out with Maria, and then he's jolted awake by Kumar. And that's when they see that
the cheetah took off, but we have good news and bad. We have bad news and worse news.
Bad news and worse news. And he's like, well, give me the worst news.
He's like, the cheetah took us the wrong direction, so we're further away from White Castle.
He's like, okay, so what's the bad news? And he's like, your laptop
is absolutely destroyed.
And he's like, how is that worse news? Like, he's just... all the work he did overnight is now gone.
I'm about to have to do it again. It's like, well,
I'm going to have to go to work.
That affects just you, whereas the White Castle situation affects us both equally.
And that's when Harold kind of has his meltdown. And that's when Kumar realizes that Harold's like, this actually meant something. Oh, all right, man, then let's try to get back to your work so we can get you there.
And when they head back to the road, isn't this where they see Neil Patrick Harris drive past in Harold's car?
Yes.
And there's just like topless women.
Yes.
And Harold gets sprayed with something.
With water. Yep. With like dirty like road water. And that's when Kumar's like, all right, man, let's just go.
Yep.
And so they get down and they find the group of the extreme punks that have been, following them the whole night.
They're at like the hot dog heaven, which is where the other two, their neighbors, the other two, they've been on their own adventure to go get hot dogs at Hot Dog Heaven.
So they're sitting there eating hot dogs,
and they see that bliss of like that is the look of a man who has just gotten exactly what it is that he craves.
Mm-hmm.
And
this is when Harold has like his like fuck it moment.
Yep.
Like, I'm just sick of everything. So they see the dude bros and they're harassing them or whatever.
Yep.
And that's when they make, Harold makes this decision where he steals the dude bros keys and they steal their truck.
They steal their truck and take off, and it's like him finally just saying, fuck it, fuck all the rules, I'm done with this. And they make up some pretty good ground in this truck.
While singing
along to the
mixtape.
To the 2004, keep in mind that's when I make this joke, the girliest soundtrack to the Extreme Bros you could ever possibly imagine.
It's Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
It's okay, so it starts off with, I believe, Bonnie Wright.
Yeah. See, I knew all the songs. I couldn't tell you their names.
It's Totally Eclipse of the Heart.
Yeah.
Then it was Baby Baby from Mariah Carey.
I still rock out to Total Eclipse of the Heart, though.
And then the last one is by, I believe, Wilson Phillips.
Maybe.
Hold On for One More Day.
Yeah.
See, hold on for one more day. Yeah. And they start like...
and they finally just kind of get into it.
It's my favorite scene in the movie. Is the two of them singing, and they get to the chorus, and then both of them are just like rocking out to
and just like scream singing it at each other.
I believe
it's like that.
It's Wilson Phillips.
It's that thing that you do when you're in the car with your best friends, and it's just like, fuck it, I can't sing, but I'm gonna do it.
Right.
Like we've had those nights.
Yeah, we most definitely have.
Driving around middle of the night, crack a nowhere.
Okay, so
just rocking out to whatever burn CD I had managed to make that week.
Funnily enough, I got two of them right. It was Total Eclipse of the Heart, but it was Nikki French's version, not Bonnie Wright's version. It was Hold On by Wilson Phillips.
Okay.
I remember my like late 90s, early 2000s like female pop like rocky things. So yeah.
Okay. Now and at this point when they're just rocking out and having a grand time, they go through an intersection.
I'm sorry, it was Baby Baby by Amy Grant, not Mariah Carey.
Okay.
They sound very similar to me, but regardless.
So they go through this intersection and they're spotted by a cop, and he's like, "Finally, I got him." And I'm thinking that the dude bros called in that their car was stolen, and it's a very noticeable car, so they're gonna go. They're looking for it, so they're after Harold and Kumar. This turns out to not be the case, but we'll find this out later.
So they're running away from the cop, and they go off-roading.
They go off-road through the woods and like over this like field, and just they're like, it's like, good thing my stomach's empty, or I'd lose my goddamn lunch. And they
have to brake right before the end of a cliff.
They end up like right at the edge of a cliff, like the front tires dangling off, and they can't get traction to back up, so they have to pile out of the back of the truck. And just over this cliff, they can see just down the hill.
It's like illuminated.
It's like the one thing that's lit up down the hill. It's the White Castle.
It's the White Castle. And so they know the cops are on their tail. And on this truck is some
like extreme gear. There was a kayak that the guys used to harass the convenience store guy.
Yep, and now they have a hang glider.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's like, no, I'm not going down. No, and like
Kumar's like, come on, man, I've done it with my dad. Like I used to do it all the time. It's fine. Like we can do this. Let's do this. And so, and
they have this long kind of heart to heart about not giving up, and like this is not the right thing to do. Eventually, Kumar talks Harold into, all right, fine, fuck it, let's go. They take down the hang glider, and they're all like suited up, and they're attached to it.
And by this point, the sun's coming up.
The sun's coming up. Like the sun came up fast.
Yeah.
So they've got the hang glider ready. The cops are just breaking the tree line behind them, and Kumar's like, I got to tell you something. What's that? They jump off the cliff. I've never hang glided before.
He's like, what?
And there's this cool scene of them just like hang gliding around, just soaring
stock footage.
And they're like, man, we are so high. We are not low. And they eventually like manage to land the thing and not like kill themselves in the process. They hit a tree and fell and hit every branch on the way down. But they end up just across the street from the White Castle, and they're tired and just disheveled and dirty and bleeding.
They're dirty and bleeding and everything, and they walk in and they're like,
I want the entire menu twice.
He's like, I want 25 burgers, 5 fries, and 5 cherry cokes. And
whatever he's getting.
And Kumar's like, I want the same, but make mine Diet Coke. And they're like, okay, your order comes to $46.75.
That's like 60 fucking burgers. And so many potatoes.
$46 for 50 burgers.
And then Harold realizes that the cops, we see that at one point when they're in the police station, the cop took all the money out of Harold's wallet.
So he broke.
Because they are wildly corrupt.
He broke. And so...
turns out Neil Patrick Harris is at the White Castle, and he's like, yeah, you know what? Let me pay for your meal. I was kind of an asshole last night. I'm real sorry about that. Here's your keys, by the way.
Here's your keys. I'm sorry. Let me pay for your food. Here's $50 for your meal and like $200 for
the car.
And he's like, what's wrong with my car?
I left some
there's some love stains in the back seat. You'll see them. But they do a "Dude, where's my car" reference.
Yeah.
There was that made me giggle because one of them was like, dude, where's my car? And then Harold's like, dude, where's my car? And Kumar's like, yeah, where's his car, dude? That is 100% a "Dude, where's my car" reference. I was very happy.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So, where were we?
But so Neil Patrick Harris...
They have their burgers. They have their mountain of what is presumably meat or meat-type product.
And it's like 30 seconds of just them, like, devouring these burgers and fries and just like that joyous feeling of you're getting your what you wanted to eat.
Yeah. Now is a White Castle burger good? No. Like it is objective.
I'm not a fan.
Objectively, it is bad. But when you're craving that grease and that shitty fast food,
I know the feeling of when you're really craving a food and then you finally get to eat it. It's like it hits. Just like the dopamine is running and flowing.
Well, I had that a couple weeks ago. I was having it turned out it was for Chinese food. I was having a craving, but my brain decided it didn't need to tell me what specifically it was I was craving. So I'm just like, is this? No, that's not it. How about it? No, is this not it? Damn it! Turned out it was chow mein.
Yep. Fall River chow mein.
Yes,
not
it's a very specific thing. If you're listening from outside, I can tell you about Fall River chow mein.
Yeah, it's a
it's
special.
Not the garlicky thing that you're thinking.
No,
of.
It's a special thing all its own from our area. But and I'm not saying that just to be like, oh no, our area. No, seriously, it's very specific to the city. At this point is when the like yuppie bros from Harold's office walk in.
They pull into
with their dates from the night before.
Now they had told Harold that they had like meetings with clients all weekend, and they're all busy, and they just walk in with these two girls that very that they look like they were very clearly picked up in a club because
Mm-hmm.
they're still wearing like evening
They're wearing like club
wear.
gear. Yeah, they're wearing club gear. And so Harold sees this and he loses it a little bit, gets up and he's like, is the client meeting?
These are the clients, huh?
Oh no, he's like, no. We're done. And they're trying to like, well, Harold, wait. And he's like, no. You see, this ends here. You're going to do your own work from now on, or I'm going to go to the big boss and let him know exactly what you guys have been doing. And unless this, like, stops now, trust me, it's not going to be my ass that's in trouble. So you guys better, deal with it on your own. Okay, thanks, bye.
Basically says to his boss what we all want to say to our bosses.
Well, what's really funny, too, is, like, I picked up on something about this dynamic that I did not pick up on when I first saw this movie.
Yeah.
Because the boss guy, the one that has his own office, so he's got to be like the supervisor, right?
Yeah.
He was not about to do it. It was his friend who came in and was like, just give it off to one of these guys. He had never done it before.
So the Ethan Embry character isn't necessarily...
Not a complete douchebag, but would have been pushed to further douchebaggery.
Yeah.
Had this not happened.
And it didn't take very much to push him to this.
No, it didn't. It was one of those things like, he's like, come on, you haven't been late in 6 months. Let's get you out. Let's just, give it to somebody else to do. Gave it to the guy. Harold did not, say no.
He didn't really fight it.
He didn't fight it, so it kind of gave the impression that, he'll do it for you because he likes it.
Yeah.
And then this right here, it was really funny is if you notice, Ethan Embry's character actually glares at his friend.
Yeah.
Like, after this, I'm like, this is your fault.
Mm-hmm. Because it is. It's only because it is.
It was just like, that right there was just so subtle in the writing, but I was like, it's true. Like, this guy had never done it before. The friend was doing it all the time.
And the one time he does it, he gets caught out.
Which it seems like he's that kind of guy, though.
Yeah.
But, so
the one time you break the rules, you get caught out. It's like, motherfucker.
I have headcanon about that. Like, he's getting demoted.
Yeah.
But they decide, okay, they're going to go home. So they go home. And the car, by the way, the car is filthy. Like, the outside of the car is filthy.
We never see the inside of the back seat, but we have to assume it is also filthy.
But they get home. Harold parks in the front space
because we had left out what happened to the Dude Bros. Because when the cops finally catch up to them, they're off on a hang glider and they're pretty much gone. The cops search the truck and they find the big bag of weed that Kumar left behind, or it fell out of his coat or something. It just got left behind in the truck. So the owners of this truck end up it turns out the cops were actually the ones the cops were looking for, because they'd been harassing convenience stores and businesses the entire night. So they've been leading a trail of like horrid annoyance the whole night. So the cops were looking for the orange truck, but not because it was stolen. No. Because it's owned by dickheads.
Yep. So they get busted. But before we find out about any of this, they're walking in and Harold's like all like pumped and all like, really like high on self-esteem.
It's like, those burgers changed my life, man. I feel like a new man.
And the elevator doors open and there's Maria. They get to their floor and there's Maria with a bunch of bags, like looking like she's going to leave, and it's really early in the morning. So
and Kumar makes like an excuse saying, "Oh shit, I left my lighter in your car. Can you go back down and get it?" And sends the two of them down in the elevator.
Yep.
And he's just keeps giving these like signals to Harold, just like, "Don't fuck this up.
Talk to her. And so they get down to almost to the point where the doors are opening, and
Harold has again clammed up.
Oh, he's clammed up. And she starts talking like, wow, you look like you had a rough night. And he was like, oh, yeah. Like, yeah, it was rough. And she's about to leave. He's like, oh, where are you going? She's like, oh, I'm going to Amsterdam with some friends. And he's like, oh, that's cool. And then he's like, oh, you know what? She's about to leave.
Hang on. I get, and he just basically just haltingly and like shudderingly just confesses
It's actually kind of
how he feels about her.
It's kind of cute.
He's like, I know you don't know me, or barely know me, or whatever, but still, this whole thing, the best part of my day
is the 10 seconds I get to be in the elevator with you.
And if I'm lucky on that day to run into you.
Anybody says that to anybody else and like truly means it, that's like your heart skips a beat sort of thing. Like if anybody says the highlight of my day is the 10 seconds I get to be with you in an elevator, that's a good fucking line. It is. It is a good line. People are going to listen to it, and if you're sincere and are coming across as sincere, you're going to get laid. Like I can't say it any better than that.
Basically he grabs her and kisses her, and then he just realizes what he's doing and he stops, and they're both like, oh god, that was okay, that was sudden. And he's like, that was really inappropriate, I'm sorry. And she's like, fuck it, grabs him, and they start making out more. And she's like, ha, okay, good.
So she's like, he's like, let me take you out. And she's like, when I come back from my trip,
I'll be back in 10 days.
I'll be back in 10 days. And he's like, great. And he goes upstairs
and he's just basically floating on a cloud at this point. He's just like, I feel okay.
He goes to Kumar, and Kumar's like, basically, did you touch booby?
Almost.
And he's like, no. He's like, got some kissing action. And he's like, great. And
hell yeah, brother.
She's going to be in Amsterdam for 10 days. And he's like, fuck it, let's go to Amsterdam. And
like, with what money? But all right.
Yeah, let's go to Amsterdam. And he's like, it's legal there, right?
And they're just like, oh yeah.
And they kind of smile at each other, and that's when the credits start. But during the credits,
news reports of a whole bunch of shit that happened.
The dude bros from the orange truck, you find out that they got arrested for marijuana.
And the cops
that were douchebags
were investigated for, or like arrested because for horrible corruption.
Well, they falsely arrested a judge and a lawyer. The black guy that they got actually pulled out of bed that evening was a judge.
Yep.
And the guy who was sitting in the jail cell was a lawyer. Yep. Like, these guys got fucked. Then they still hadn't found the cheetah.
Yeah, the cheetah was still missing. He was off having his own adventures.
And they are police are on the lookout.
Well, yes, they mentioned that you said the dude bros in the orange truck. And the police are still on the lookout for two suspects who escaped from police custody. We have the artist renditions, which we are told are very, very accurate, and it's literally the most racist caricature of like an Indian guy with a turban and just like Fu Manchu with the conical hat and the long
it's
mustache.
Awful. It's awful.
And it sounds like it was the first time that the actors had seen that picture, so it was like getting laughing. Their actions like it's perfect. It was great, and that was the end of the movie. Yep.
That was it.
And John Cho, if I'm not mistaken, he went on to be Sulu in the
You are correct, sir.
In the Star Trek reboot.
Yes, he did.
Yes. Okay.
And Cal Penn ended up working for Obama.
Yep.
He was on House for a while, then he worked for Obama, and I think he's back to acting now.
He might be. I didn't look him up, I'll be honest.
I believe he is.
So, yeah, that was the movie. So, we're going to take a real quick break. We'll come right back with some fantasy casting.
And we're back.
Okay, so during the break, we had a little discussion.
We suck at fantasy casting.
Yeah, we were both kind of relying on the other one to think of something. And aside from adding a Muppet to it, I think the casting in this is pretty much perfect.
Well, here's the deal. This movie has a very special place in my little stoner heart. Because I think this was probably one of the first actual stoner movies I saw that was based with marijuana.
Yeah.
Like, I hadn't seen Up in Smoke.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen Dazed and Confused. I hadn't seen any of the other movies prior to this one. I hadn't seen. So this was kind of my introduction, I guess, to the stoner, like a real stoner type movie. Like, they actually talk about marijuana and say marijuana. Everything else, like that 70s show, is kind of implied.
They don't call it the reefer cigarettes?
No.
Gonna make you lose your mind and go eat glass.
They called it dope.
Yeah.
I do remember them calling it dope specifically, but dope
Some
can be
sticky icky.
Dope can be anything.
True.
So it's like that's why it wasn't it wasn't like specific. But yeah, so we suck at fantasy casting, so I don't really have any.
Yeah, because the casting in this honestly just works.
I liked it a lot.
Without Nick and Kaz here, I could try to do an IMDb game, but I'm gonna think that she'll get the closest answer if she's the only one playing. So
that doesn't work. So
yeah,
we're gonna end it here.
So that was our stoner month. Kind of funny. Stoner month ends up with us forgetting about doing
because we're stoners, bro. It was fun. It was a good month. I liked this month, though I wasn't exactly thrilled about one of the movies, but I liked.
Yeah.
I think it was a good stoner month for an actual 420.
Yep. We're at what 423 episodes.
This is 423, I believe.
Yep.
So
like not including like little announcements and side things, but yeah, 423 episodes.
And without Nick and Cass here, it's like you guys started all this, and now we're involved.
We came in around like the 20s ish. So
thanks, guys. It's been a lot of fun.
Yes. So I believe next month, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be kind of back to our roots a little bit with a time travel month.
It's a time travel month.
It's Kaz's month, and she's we've been helping to narrow down the list of time travel movies because there's a lot of them.
And we've already covered quite a few, actually.
Yeah.
So these are kind of, I don't want to say obscure because they're not obscure, but they're not your mainstream ones.
Yeah. When you first think of a time travel movie, you think Terminator, you think Back to the Future.
I love that you thought Terminator because
that's my time.
It wasn't even on mine. Like
that's my time travel.
Mine
movie.
Was Back to the Future, Hot Tub Time Machine,
stuff like that.
Yeah.
These are some other movies that you don't quite think of, and one of them that she put on the list, I forgot was a time travel movie. Technically,
I'm not even sure what it is, but
I'll point it out off mic because I don't want to spoil it because I am so excited for it.
All right, guys. Well, this has been fun, and we'll see you next week, hopefully with our full cast, with our rested and happy cast.
Indeed. So, until then, be good, take care of yourselves, but don't be too good.
And get high, because it's fun.